heartland of America and coast to coast. This is EM Student with Professor Dan Scott.
Hello and welcome to EM Student. This is Dan Scott. I wanted to open up with my usual quote: learning is experience. Everything else is just information. Albert Einstein. Now, as I've mentioned before, internships are a very important aspect of learning to be an emergency manager, getting that on-the-ground experience. I myself have gone through an internship when I was working on one of my degrees, and it was a great experience being in the office, seeing what everything does, being able to go out into the field and actually apply what it was that I was learning. Today on the show, we have someone who has dedicated their life, really, in their career portion, to internships, and how improving the student in the experience on the job brings that caliber of student out into the field as much better of an emergency management practitioner. Today we have on the show Rebekah Mena.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us, Rebekah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat about all things internship this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rebekah is with the District of Columbia Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency. So how long have you been there?
I'm coming up on 4 years with HSEMA.
4 years. And you are the internship director, correct?
Yep, I serve as the agency's internship coordinator, and that's just part of my role. I also serve as the Deputy Chief of Public Affairs.
So go ahead and let's go jump right into the internship portion of it. So how many interns do you bring into your organization each year?
So we run 3 cohorts throughout the year. We have a fall, a spring, and a summer program. And we typically bring on between 8 to 10 interns per cohort. It just kind of depends on the agency's needs at that specific time, and then also what the application pool looks like.
So what are the requirements for those applicants to apply?
So because it's a student internship, we do require that students are actively enrolled in either an undergraduate or a graduate program at the time of application and at the time of the completion of the internship. So we do want to make sure that we're giving students the best experience in the field to learn, network, and grow. So that is primarily the first requirement that we have. Additionally, students have to have a minimum GPA of a 3.0, and they have to be a U.S. citizen in order to apply.
Do the fields of study, do they have to be specifically related to emergency management?
Not necessarily. We definitely look for students that are in a similar field, so disaster management, emergency management, intelligence, homeland security, any combination of those. But we also offer other opportunities that are helpful as well. So we have internships in our Office of Public Affairs, so we look for marketing and communication students. We offer admin and IT internships as well. So our information technology and computer science students also have an opportunity to join our agency for the summer. And you don't have to be in one of those fields. You just have to be interested and be able to show, that you know baseline knowledge and can kind of keep up with the different operations that we have going on throughout the agency.
Very cool. It's always great to have diversity, and not only those who you're bringing on, but the amount of expertise that you're bringing on, and that benefits not only you but also the student who's being into the program. So let's talk about that. So the benefit is to both the student and the organization. So let's talk about the benefits to both.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our program, I'm a little biased. I went through it myself about 3.5 years ago as an intern, and then was fortunate that the agency's staffing needs happened to change at the time my program was done and was brought on as a contractor and then later as a full-time employee. So I'm a little bit biased in saying it, but I think our program is truly unique. And the hands-on experience that we offer is unlike no other. We immerse students directly into whatever it is that is going on. For example, right now this summer, our cohort, we delayed it a little bit given the pandemic and the fact that our agency is leading the district's response to COVID-19. But we also recognize that this was an incredible, for lack of better word, learning experience, to be able to work on a pandemic and, kind of figure out how you respond to something like this. So we brought interns on for this summer. It was a 14-week program, and they've been helping us in every aspect of the response, from our traditional response to recovery efforts, looking at long-term future planning, some of the intelligence pieces, kind of figuring out what's happening in other areas of the country and what could those forecasts or impacts look like in the District of Columbia at some point at a later date. So I think the hands-on experience that students get is unlike no other. It's not, you hear horror stories of coffee runs or having to go print papers and not really getting to do a lot. And our program is the total opposite. We have amazing buy-in in the program from our director, Dr. Christopher Rodriguez, all the way down through the workforce. Our staff looks forward to the onboarding of each new cohort every time. So I think that really just speaks to kind of the caliber of the program that we have.
So how long are your cohorts? How long does an individual get to be an intern at the program?
Yeah, so it sort of depends on the time of year. Typically, it's about 13 or 14 weeks. That way, there's enough time to be onboarded, kind of assimilate, adjust, and figure out how the District of Columbia operates as a government, both a city, a county, and a state without actually being a state. And then also some time to kind of carry out projects, start some things of your own, and see them basically from start to finish. So typically 13 or 14 weeks. For the fall program that we have coming up, we've done an extended program. It's about 19 weeks. And that is because the biggest thing that we have going on outside of COVID-19 is the 59th presidential inauguration. So students will have the opportunity to support the district and our agency's efforts for planning that type of event. So that is 19 weeks with a couple weeks built in for Thanksgiving and winter and holiday breaks, knowing that, family and travel, that kind of thing. So for the fall, it will be about 19, but typically it's 13 or 14.
So with the inauguration, I mean, that's a pretty big deal for someone to say that they got to work on as an internship. What type of activities would a student intern be working in that specific arena?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're right. It's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity, even though it happens every 4 years. Students, what they work on will kind of depend on what division or office that they're matched with for the fall. So students have the opportunity to work on anything from planning, so working on response plans, to training and exercises, figuring out how to work through virtual tabletops or, full-scale exercises, to prep for the inauguration. On the other side, some of the students that may be matched with the National Capital Region Threat Intelligence Consortium, or the NTIC, which is our fusion center, might have the opportunity to work on some, open source intelligence, creating different products, threat briefings, threat assessments. So there's a handful of opportunities. Folks that are paired with me in the Office of Public Affairs will really work on the public messaging piece, and how you kind of communicate and prepare the city and residents for, so much going on, traffic impacts, road closures, things like that. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity. It just kind of depends on where people are matched.
Very cool. So I know one of the biggest questions, and this was a question I looked for too when I was applying for my internship, was, does it come with a paycheck?
Yes, that's a very important question. And we do offer a stipend as compensation for our interns. We absolutely recognize that the level of work that our interns put in is top-notch, high quality. And we want to make sure that they're compensated for that. We also understand that students, need to work and still are paying rent and bills and school, and it's very difficult. So we do offer that stipend as a way to compensate our interns. Super excited to announce that starting this fall, we've actually bumped our stipend up. So we're actually right at minimum wage for the District of Columbia, which is huge. And I think just goes to show, the dedication and the appreciation and the value that we have, not only in our program, but in the different students that we bring in throughout the cohorts.
Yeah, and that's a great thing if you can contribute to that, as far as and a student that could be paid for doing the work that they're doing, that would aid in their education.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of programs out there that just they don't have the funds to do that. Myself, the program I went through was not paid. It was strictly volunteer based. I got the school credit for it, of course, but it was my time, and it was absolutely worth it. So it's very clear. I would like to be very clear that even if you don't get the opportunity to have a paid program, it's still absolutely 100% worth your time. But the fact that that your office does that is amazing, and it's just one more benefit that you get to offer to the student as they go through the learning process of managing their not only their learning, their education, but their on the job real life experience that you offer is amazing. Like I said, mine was non-paid, but I got so much experience with being able to work in the field and teach. I got to go do so many training opportunities where I got to teach not only what I was learning, but the emergency management, ICS, and other. I got to help run scenarios with exercises and different things like that. So that was amazing. So the fact that you have these opportunities, especially when it comes to the inauguration and how much goes into that, is definitely, like you said, it's a once in a lifetime experience for the student. Even though those who work in the office may get to do it every 4 years. Absolutely. It's a lot of work and a great deal of experience. And as you've mentioned, the pandemic itself, if nothing else, this is a once in a lifetime learning experience for not even a student, but the individuals that do this as a career.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, so absolutely.
The things that I've seen, different methods that we've had to use. I mean, there's just so much innovation and, kind of out of the box thinking, because it's an event unlike really any other that we've had to deal with. So absolutely, like you said, not only for the working professional, but for students and interns learning and, kind of soaking up everything that's out there. This is quite an eventful time to be in emergency management.
And we have a comment. It says 1981 intern status was my entry into EM. Went full-time yearly. 1982 internship exposed me to state EM leaders and surrounding county EM agencies. And this comes from Michael Cockerill. Thank you, Michael, for that comment. Yeah, it's amazing. There's a lot that from an internship can bring you so many networking opportunities that could potentially lead to a full-time position in another agency. You may be doing an internship in one agency, but in Rebekah's, in her story, she got to be an internship and then get hired on in the same agency, which it happens. It's not that it happens all the time, but it does happen. But ultimately, it opens you up to the field in the other jurisdictions around you and other the networking opportunities that you come upon that could potentially say, hey, we're looking for somebody, you should apply. And absolutely. You can turn up getting a job. I mean, ultimately, I was working as an EM as I was going through my degree, and I decided to do the internship. So I was basically doing 2 full-time jobs and the degree. But hey, it got the amount of experience I got. I look back on it and absolutely enjoyed. So you shared your story. You went through the internship program. You were picked up and now are an employee of the organization in which you went through internship program. You're now running, a director of the internship program. So why is it that you believe it is important for interns to work in the program?
I honestly think it's just because of the amazing experience that I had. I fell into emergency management completely by accident. My undergraduate degree is in forensic psychology. I loved my major. I loved my classes, but I quickly realized in working for the state of Florida the year after I graduated from undergrad that it just wasn't what I wanted to do career-wise. And I fell into communications and knew that this was it. This is my jam. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I had to take an internship. I went and did my master's because I needed, obviously, education in the field. And I went and did my master's and I had to take an internship. And a company took took a chance on me. I didn't have any professional experience in communications, but they, after, interviewing with them and talking with them about my goals and my plans, they took a chance on me, and it kind of brought me to where I am now. From there, I applied to HSEMA's internship program. Again, I knew absolutely nothing about emergency management, but I had comms experience. So my boss, Nicole Peckham, kind of brought me on and again took kind of a chance with me. It was a huge learning curve coming into such a large agency like HSEMA, and having to really learn all of it. ICS, NIMS, everything. I didn't know what an incident commander was. So it was definitely a learning experience, but I absolutely loved it. And I stayed with it. I'm still here now. And I've just had such positive experiences. And I've been fortunate enough that I think it's really important to put that effort and that level of energy back into it to ensure that other students have those opportunities, that they're able to talk with people about what it's been like. And I think it's great. We do a bunch of recruiting. Well, we did pre-COVID. We'll see what virtual recruitment looks like now. But, we used to go to career fairs all the time throughout the National Capital Region, DC, Maryland, Virginia. And it was just always so great to be able to tell interns, like, yes, our program is great, but I know it's great because I've also been through it. So it's not like someone's just telling you something and they don't actually know. So I've been fortunate that has been, something that I've been able to share with people. And honestly, I love it. It's one of my favorite parts of my job. I think I learn more from the cohorts that come in than I could have ever imagined. And it's just so crazy to see, the ideas and the excitement and the level of innovation that's out there. I think our team learns just as much, if not more, from the interns than they probably do from our staff.
Yeah, and I commend you even more that you open it up to more than just those who are pursuing a degree in emergency management, Homeland Security, because you open it up to other ways of thinking and other ways of applying emergency management to that specific area. Communications being one, cybersecurity, IT. There's so much. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about emergency management is you can go your whole career and not touch every aspect of emergency management because there's so much that goes into it, so many different aspects that you can touch in the functionality of being an emergency manager. But also more than that, teaching emergency management. There's so many different aspects that go along with it. And you bring credibility to your program by saying, hey, I went through the program. I went through it. So that, even more than that. So I wanted to give you an opportunity also to talk about other volunteer opportunities that exist inside your jurisdiction, although they may not exist inside your organization.
Yeah. So one of the other things that we definitely encourage people to do is to get involved with their local CERT programs. Here in the District of Columbia, the CERT program does not actually fall within our agency, but under the Mayor's Office of Volunteerism and Partnerships, Serve DC. So Serve DC would definitely be a great starting point to kind of learn about their program. It's also National Preparedness Month. So we're pushing out a lot more information on just general preparedness, but Serve DC, we're partnering with them also to push out some additional CERT program info. So this is a great time to learn more and to get involved.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing that information. I wanted to give you the opportunity. You shared that your organization has started a podcast that will be going out shortly. Would you like to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, it's been really exciting. This was one of Director Rodriguez's, priorities, and one of the things he really wanted to bring to the agency, so that we could talk about the amazing staff members that we have, talk about the history of EM, the field, different initiatives that we have going on within our agency. Our podcast is called HSEMA Off the Record. We launched it in November of 2019. We were running bi-weekly podcast episodes all the way through January 2020. Our last episode focused on the State of the Union address, and we brought on Director Kim Kadish, who's the director of FEMA's Office of the National Capital Region Coordination, to talk with our director, Dr. Christopher Rodriguez, about the planning efforts and how our teams work together to operate an activation for the State of the Union address. But then COVID happened, and our priorities shifted a little bit, so we had to kind of focus on the response and put that on hold for the time being. But we're super excited. As I just mentioned, September is National Preparedness Month, so we'll be coming out with some new episodes a little bit later this month, and they're all available on any podcast streaming platform service that you use. And people can also go to ready.dc.gov/off the record for links to older episodes, to learn more about the podcast, and to see the different platforms that the podcast is available.
Sounds great. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So the International Association of Emergency Managers Conference has gone virtual this year. Are you attending that?
Yeah, so we actually also have quite a handful of staff members that were selected to present had the conference been in person. So we're excited to support not only our colleagues, but everybody else across the EM space.
So I've been. This would be a great time for those who have never been to attend, because you don't have to go anywhere. You can go to just your computer. The cost has been reduced due to that fact. So if you've never been to a conference, I absolutely suggest you go on there and look at what they're going to be offering. Sign up to go and enjoy it. And hopefully the next year it will be in person, because you're still gonna we're still gonna have some networking opportunities at IEM. The Emergency Management Growth Initiative. Lorraine Schneider and myself will be hosting a few networking social events through our EM talk dinners. So we're going to do that, and so for everybody to expect that, and also for those who are looking to either mentor or be mentored, take a look at the aspiring emergency managers online through LinkedIn. It's a group to get a networking grasp on those who have never done emergency management, those who have done it for a long time, and just learn from each other. Aspect. Do you have any of those opportunities, mentoring opportunities in your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. We honestly, I think that's, aside from the experience and the real world of the program, I think the networking is probably I would say the second biggest draw or aspect to our program. Because we work in the District of Columbia, we are surrounded by the federal government, but also local jurisdictions in Maryland and Virginia directly within the NCR. So the exposure that interns and our staff members in general have is pretty large, and different tabletop events, trainings, exercises, activations of the Emergency Operations Center are great opportunities for people to come together and to kind of network and learn and grow. And for a lot of our interns, that's, like we talked about earlier, that's where they find their next job or their next internship, their next career is, just by being in the EOC and not being afraid to, walk up to a liaison officer for whatever agency or department that's there. So there are definitely lots of opportunities for networking and mentorship. And one of the things too that we do at the completion of the program is our students do a final presentation. So they take about 7 to 10 minutes just to talk about their entire experience with the agency during their internship, talk about their background, what their future plans are. And I always tell the cohorts when they're preparing for their interns, I'm like, be as totally honest and frank as you can. Like, if this is where you want to work, tell people, because then people know that like you're looking for opportunities, you've liked your experience and you want to stay. Or, if the FBI is your dream job, or you want to go work for FEMA at headquarters, tell people in these presentations, because all of our staff members have connections, previous job experiences, LinkedIn, running into each other at a conference, whatever it is. There are so many connections and ties to other agencies that the only way to know is to ask or to tell somebody that you're interested. So that's one of the best, pieces of advice I give to our group for their presentation, is to be totally honest about, what they want, what their plans are, and where they want to go.
Yeah, I agree. Networking opportunities are one of the best. I'd say it's a benefit to being an emergency manager. Yeah. It's a benefit to all the training that we go through to do the job that we do, and it's one of my favorite parts of that I do. It's one of my favorite parts of is networking with others. And that's one of the reasons why I love emergency management so much, because it's whole community, right? That's one of the. Not only do we preach it, we practice it. It's whole community, and we work with everybody. We talk with everybody. We want to work with the whole community, and networking is one way to do that. So, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on the show, Rebekah. Thank you for running the program that you run. I think that is a benefit not only to the student itself, but to the community that they will then serve if they choose to go out and practice emergency management. And one of the one of my, and I say my, but also some of the people that I network with, the goal is to popularize emergency management. There's so much out there that they just don't know what emergency management is. They don't know to what extent it is, how great it is. Yeah, you such as yourself. So we want to popularize it, and internships are a great way to do that. As you said, you didn't know anything about it. You went into it, you loved it, and now you're an emergency manager working in an emergency management profession. That's amazing. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you. So just to sum up. Yes, thank you. So just to sum up, just say, if you are a student and you are looking for an internship opportunity, it is definitely absolutely worth your time. If it's required in your program, amazing. If it's not, still seek it out, or look for other volunteer opportunities that exist within your community for the emergency management profession. You can't do better than actually practicing what you preach, learning it. For those who didn't think they had any passion for or excitement for the emergency management profession, give it a shot. You might find, like as Rebekah did, that it's a place where you want to be. This is Dan Scott. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I'll talk to you soon.